Only wanted
good.
to kind of talk about food with you guys. So, can you tell us how long you've been there, both of you? So, obviously, Nick, you said you're the
Program chair.
Yeah, hospitality program chair. How long have you been there?
Program chair, I've been there for a year now. Overall, though, since January 15th, so coming up on 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
been fun. It's been a fun ride. Enjoy the students. Enjoy the place. It's absolutely wonderful. So
Cool. How long have you
I
been a
I've been a
student?
student since 2014.
Nice. And so this is what I like because we here on Younger Life Live, people are chiming in instantly, massively, and I love this. People always ask, is it tough to go back to school, whatever age you are, whether you're 18, whether you're 25, whether you're in your 30s, or even older than that. And I have a lot of friends that have had careers that were there for 25, 30 years, and then just because the company made a change, they're like, we have to make a change, but then they do something that they want to do.
Stepped out of the box a little.
So totally stepped
Which
out of
is
the box.
important.
I want to hear about that. Is that with what happened to you?
Well, no, my kids grew up, and I was a stay-at-home mom for about 12 years, and kids are gone, and they don't need me, and
They don't need me.
well, they don't need
They
me as
always
much.
need you,
They
but-
don't need me as
Yeah. We
need
much.
you,
They
though.
have their own, they're independent now,
Sure.
and I always wanted to go when I was
Yeah.
in high school,
Yeah.
but just didn't
Life.
happen that way. Life,
Yeah.
exactly. Marriage, kids, life, work. Now I have the time.
And you're
so-
still way young, which is cool.
I am. Thanks.
So, are you actually going for hospitality? Are you in the hospitality program?
I am.
So with a hospitality degree, it kind of interests me. I'm curious what kind of careers. I mean, I know Nick, you're a chef, right?
sure.
I mean, yeah. I mean, is that what the career path would be post graduation from a hospitality degree, or is it what else does it involve?
You can do chef. You can do. We do.
I can help you out.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
you
I would
do.
say, basically, you can pretty much do a lot of things. The hospitality industry is pretty big in a sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, obviously, right off the bat, you see the culinary. So, yes, chef, you could definitely go in that route. Start off in the bottom, basically, from prep cook, line cook, sous chef, all the way up to chef de cuisine, exec chef, so on and so forth. If you hop into the hospitality industry, it just opens up so much more. You can get front of the house training. You could go into like hotels, casinos,
Yeah,
resorts.
that's what I was curious about.
It's a very
It's such
big.
a broad, it's such
Yes.
a broad degree. I think that's really cool. I didn't even realize that was so local. I think that's really neat.
One of the things I wanted to throw out there, and,
Yeah,
I just wanted
please.
to jump on this as a couple, and it's kind of funny as you go back to school because your children are grown up. Mary and I have had this conversation several times. Mary has 5 children that range from
16 to the youngest just turned 5.
Okay, so my 2 daughters are 18 and 22, and both are women. And my wife Norma and I have been together for a lot of years, 25 years married, 33 years together, but we're always looking for something fun to do. So we took up, we love our concerts. We love, just different things together. But one of the things we want to do is we want to take some culinary classes together.
Yeah, that's
we
cool.
both feel we're decent cooks, but we could always learn. And I feel that this would be something cool.
Oh, I think that would
You know
be
what
fun.
I'm saying? It's like something to do
Now,
that I think would be awesome.
Ivy Tech doesn't offer that, do they? I mean, like
Not
cooking
so-
classes for just like public.
Not so much like straight out cooking
Right,
classes.
no, I got-
But if you wanted to get into it, we do have a certificate program where it is just like 6 classes where you would do the basics such as sanitation, which is very key. And then from there, you could take the basic culinary classes from the intro to culinary to soup, stocks, and sauces. So you learn the basics, which that
That's
is what
neat.
drives and fuels our entire industry is by learning the basics.
Really?
I like
That's
that.
really neat. Donna, I have to ask, since it is such a broad degree with hospitality, is the cooking aspect, the culinary aspect, really your passion there, or is it stepping into the hotels, the casinos? Because honestly, I mean, the event planning. I mean, there's so many things that can come from a hospitality background, I would imagine. So, what for you specifically sparks your interest the most?
I started out actually to go for a pastry chef.
Oh,
'cause
okay.
I really enjoyed baking from a young age, and I have learned that I actually really like cooking more than I
Really?
do baking.
That's what you find out. This is awesome.
That's so neat.
I'm doing kind of both sides, and who knows where it'll take me.
Yeah, I love that attitude. That's kind of just roll with it. That's kind of what we do, and it's amazing what you find out about yourself, honestly,
Yes.
in the process. I think that's cool. What about you, Chef Nick? How about for you? What did you always like to cook, or did you always have this kind of concept in mind as far as becoming a chef, and let alone the program chair for the program? I mean,
I pretty much grew up in this industry, starting at a young age. My dad's mom, so my babsha, my chachas, so like babsha, grandma and aunts.
Yeah.
Sure.
Little kid breaking down chicken. So I started at the bottom in a sense. That's where I stood.
Rock on, breaking
Really?
down
You know,
chicken.
breaking down chickens, making pierogies, all that stuff. And then just eventually as I grew, I just realized this is really what I like because
Yeah.
you tend to find everyone around the kitchen. I enjoy food.
Yeah.
Obviously, it shows.
We all do.
I was just going to say that's everybody raised their hands.
We
you know.
all do, yeah.
But pretty much, yeah, I think there was one little stint where I was like kind of unsure because I was thinking maybe not. And then one day I decided, you know what, this is really what I want to do. I was already working the industry a little bit here and there. Went to culinary school out in Chicago. Got my associate's degree. Got very lucky. I kind of knew someone who knew someone. That's how I got my first sous chef position.
Beautiful.
I got the job based off the fact that me and the other gentleman that had did the interview, I was wearing a tie.
Oh,
Yeah,
see, look
so
at that.
kids, we preach this to the young people.
Lesson right there.
We preach this. Go for it. Tell us.
So I wore a tie, and that's literally how they told me. They said it was neck and neck, and they're like, "You had a tie on. That's why."
Yeah,
And I'm still,
classy.
I could still remember the GM's face looking at me with that little smile, and I was like, well, "Okay, that's what works."
Yeah.
Yes.
But to be honest, it was fun. I got in, got to do what I wanted to do. The chef that I worked with was a great chef. You know, very calm, patient, worked with me really well. Nice thing is I had industry experience.
Yeah.
I had schooling behind it, so I was allowed to make my mistakes in school. So when I got out, I had a better idea how to correct mistakes. And then from there, went out to Chicago, helped open a restaurant with a very interesting mindset of diner by day and fresh seafood by night.
Really?
Which, yeah,
How did that work out?
It still exists. It's called Glenn's Diner. It's on 1820 West Montrose in Chicago and Ravenswood. So
Sure. I'm
fun
familiar
little
with that
place
area.
there.
Yeah.
That's neat.
It was a whole different experience of trying to deal with that, and it really just opened my mind to a lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
From there, moved into Japanese restaurant, which was also off in Chicago. Along with there is just the big operation, Japanese French influenced cuisine. Helped instrument a lot of the work with New York and Vegas, which that was loads of fun.
How neat.
So I got
You
a
know,
lot of intense training over
Well,
there.
that's a lot. I mean, already that's a lot of experience then to become a natural teacher as far as in the, to run a program like that. I think really that's because of the experiences that you had with the, people that taught you so well. And like you were saying, these chefs were very patient and helpful. I think that you are a natural teacher then.
I'd like to think so. I know what I'm doing. I think the hardest part transitioning from industry to teaching was just remembering that I'm not paying these people anymore. They're
Yeah.
paying me. So I had to go with the fact I can't yell at you. That was the toughest transition of the whole thing. But for the most part, I knew what I was talking about. I knew what I was doing because I was confident in myself just through my training, my years, and I enjoy working with the students, showing them the same things, giving them the insides, the tricks of the trade, so to speak, how to adjust, how to read a recipe, understanding that recipes are mere guidelines. They're not 100% solid. There's always something you could do with it and change it and correct. So
That's got to
neat.
be the fun part of it, looking at what is or what was or can be a recipe and putting your own spin on it, not only yourself, but with, your students and some of the other folks. I'm just curious. I love pierogies. And when you said pierogies, can I just throw you under the bus on this one? Favorite
please do.
pierogi.
I might be a bad Polish person here.
Yes. favorite pierogi. I'm just curious. Oh my gosh.
It took me a while because even as a kid making them and helping out, I never really ate the pierogies, which is odd. But I think at this point in time, sauerkraut pierogies are
Rock
kind of my
on.
favorite.
Really?
Yeah, I just kind of dig the actual taste and the butteriness of the actual the dough itself with a little bit of sour cream because that's pretty much what my babcha put in there. And then just the overall tang of the actual sauerkraut itself. So it gave it a lot of different dimensions of flavor. So
Do you know what's funny? This is going to sound terrible too. My dad's side of the family is Polish. And I don't eat pierogies either.
What?
I don't know why. Isn't that weird? Like, of course, it's that family.
Do you realize
was
where
a
we
family
are
function.
at?
I
This
know.
is pierogi capital of the world. Northwest Indiana. So is.
So
I
do
think
you
my family incorporates entire Michigan City. We're pretty big here.
Yeah. That's good. I think that's neat. I don't know. I've always just, as a young child, now my dad's side of the family no longer has big functions after my grandparents passed away. So that's probably part of it. But as a young child, I never had any interest in even eating them. And so now I think as an adult, it's just something I don't really know much about. Isn't that terrible?
No,
And
it's
my
not.
own family.
No, it's not.
history.
So,
I just
are you guys the folks that your families go to? Obviously, as you evolve and some of the things that are going on, but for the holidays, like the Thanksgiving and the the Christmases or the New Year's, or the parties, they know that they've got ya. So, do they kind of tap into your expertise? I'm just curious.
or do you guys get stuck making all the dinner?
Yeah.
That's what Rick really means. He's just
Thank
being
you.
very polite.
I am, actually.
And very politically
'Cause I
correct.
know
I'll
you've
just
got
say
families
it. Are they
vocally
making you
listening.
guys do it all?
Right. Exactly.
My family, I know when I was out in Chicago, a lot of times we would make a whirlwind tour out here because basically I worked a lot. My wife worked a lot, and really it was based off of my schedule. My wife actually had a better 9-to-5 job than I did. So we would make a one-day nonstop visit. So a lot of times they did it. When we finally moved back here to Indiana, we got our house. We did the first Thanksgiving. We tried to do it all, or well, let's say I did because the whole complex. And don't get me wrong, it was great. I did it, but I found, really to be honest, family is the best way to do it. Really help them
Yes.
incorporate. I could take on the big project. If you want to bring the sides, or if you want to take the big project, I'll do the sides. That to me is a much better route to go.
Yeah. Well, I would imagine for all of us that's more enjoyable. It reduces the stress, and it's okay if it's not perfect. I think that's another
Oh,
key
it's got to be
thing. So-
perfect.
How about in your case? Do you help out a lot?
I do. We kind of do what their family does also. I'm always in charge of the rolls. I have to make potato
I
dough
love her.
rolls.
Oh,
Rock
yum.
on.
It's got their go-tos.
Yes.
Yes.
If I don't make them, my children will lynch me.
Yeah, yeah.
I did recently start teaching my son how to make them. I said, because one of these days, mom's just not going to be able to make these anymore, so you're next.
Oh,
I like that.
So
that's
yeah.
sad. That's sweet and sad.
Right.
But I mean, at least that's a way to get him. I get the mom guilt. I totally get it. You got to
So
use it
get that
sometimes,
mom
you
guilt,
know.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think when we're talking about Thanksgiving, I'm going to jump to this part because I really want to hear about the program itself, and I want to hear about the culinary club. I didn't realize such a thing existed, and is that only open to students or public? But first, about Thanksgiving dinners
Yes.
specifically, is there a way we can incorporate? We know we're going. It's not necessarily going to be our most diet efficient day. Okay, we know that. We know that in our most healthy habits. We try our best, but are there ways we can improve our normal comfort holiday meals that maybe how can we reduce salt a little bit? How can we use spices to help maybe instead of so much salt? Or what about these sugar imitation things when you're baking? You were talking about loving baking, Donna. Are you able to use a sugar imitation? Is it the same thing? Can you kind of give us some of those tips on how we can incorporate a few healthy changes into our normal Thanksgiving meals?
And we need you to do that in 14 seconds.
14
No, I'm just
seconds.
kidding.
And I'm
14
taking notes.
seconds. Easy.
Smaller portions.
Yes, that's what we're always. We've talked to
There you
many
go.
dietitians, and that's what we
I'm just
joke
kidding.
about. That is
like,
what we
what?
say. Portion control.
Yes. Smaller
Break out the
portions.
scale and weigh out what actually you're about to eat and then realize how much you're about to eat. Right?
If
Oh,
you
wow.
really look at the calorie and the portion serving sizes on things, you would really be surprised. A lot of people would be
Well,
surprised.
we are surprised. We've had numerous.
Yes.
We've had a few different chefs on. We've had numerous dietitians on, and we are shocked by how much we actually consume. I mean, all of us, and then realize how much we're supposed to.
And let's tie into that too. The labels,
Yeah.
like you were
Labels
just saying,
are very
labels
can
are
be tricky.
deceiving because you're like, wait a minute, that says it's got like 4 serving sizes, and you're looking at
And
the
it looks
intake
like
of
one.
A, B, and C, and it's like,
know,
oh my
so-
gosh, I eat a bag of this.
Yeah.
You're right. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
So would that be your guys' number one tip as far as just kind of keeping an eye on portion or?
Well, the nice thing is if you make everything yourself and not buy it from other people,
Yeah.
you could control how much salt, how much sugar you could do in it. Especially like if you're making like vegetables, you could roast them harder to get more of a deep developed flavor, which is really nice. Look at the product you do. I know they always go to the turkey. One year I actually tried doing just like the turkey roulade, which is just the turkey breast itself. It's actually what I brought you today. So it's just lean turkey breast, which is really nice. Just straight up, all I did was add a little bit of gorgonzola, a little sauteed vegetable in it, so zucchini and some onion, and then just covered it with a nice, what's called an aspic. But basically, it's called meat jello if you really want to get the technical.
Really?
And it gives it a nice little shine. So it's basically Thanksgiving dinner in a nice little one bite. But the nice thing is, it's like if you really look at what you're doing, look at the recipe, once again, it's about adjusting.
Yeah.
Unless some things call for so much salt, so much sugar, you could back off, and that's a good way to
and
really
it's not
kind
going
of
to
help out.
harm. I mean, it's not going to really affect the taste drastically. You know, the salt intake. It's shocking how much salt we actually consume. Not that we're adding on top of our food, but that's made into our food. Yep. And you know, we were just doing a show the other day on how heart attacks and strokes actually statistically they rise around holiday time, and the theories kind of behind that, you know, so that we were kind of just pulling apart some of these theories, and it can be stress, it can be too much shoveling snow, too much, you know, strenuous stuff like that. But we know salt, obviously, too much salt isn't good for us. So that's why I think it's key to kind of find ways to tweak that. And I know spices can be intimidating for those of us that don't cook a lot, you know, and so that's what I was curious about. Like, that looks extremely delicious and is then pretty healthy.
It
obviously.
smells heavenly.
So, you know,
I'm
if we
posting
do
a picture
cut
of
the
it
salt,
right now.
If we do cut the salt in a recipe, I mean, should we be comfortable just doing that for somebody that doesn't cook very often?
You can definitely be comfortable. All my years of experience, I kind of come to the realization you're never going to meet everyone's expectations with like
Right.
certain salt and sugars and flavors and all that. The best thing to do is what I try to actually teach the students is how to get it to where it just needs to be. And then from there, allow the customer or the person, family, whoever it is, to adjust it themselves. But for the most part, you want to make it to where it's just solid flavor, solid taste, you know, and then just allow the other people to adjust it the way they want to.
If you were to bring that to my home or to my party or to a gathering, not only is it a beautiful presentation, it smells good. I want to ask, is that something that would take a long time to make?
Surprisingly, no, it's not. Basically, you get the turkey breast, you cut it on off, and then you can do a couple different things. Either you fillet it open, basically, and then from there you pound it out just between two pieces of film wrap with a nice little meat mallet. Once all said and done, salt and pepper just lightly, toss in your product, which in this case was gorgonzola, sauteed vegetables, roll it on up. And for added flavor, I kept the skin and actually wrapped it back in the skin. So you get the nice golden color, but you get the fat in there as well.
It looks gorgeous.
And then at the end, once all said and done, you cool it, cut it, and then I minced up some fresh herbs of like sage, thyme, and rosemary. And then basically did the little, like I said, the meat aspect or the aspect itself. And there you have it. The Jello, meat Jello is actually the sauce. It's a nice hard roasted vegetable stock that actually my students yesterday turned into consomme.
Oh, wow.
Look at this.
There you go. Which they did a wonderful job. So you get that great taste of the actual sauce itself or the consomme along with the actual meat, which was nicely seasoned, a little bit of fat, and just a nice little amount of gorgonzola to just give it a nice little touch.
I hear it go. Wait, I hear it. Wait, Mary, eat me.
I was going to say, we really should taste it while we're talking about it.
really should.
Let's do that.
You really
and
should.
then we'll talk about the program.
Okay, let's take a quick time out. We'll come back. We'll eat it, and then we'll talk program.
Oh, sounds good.
Is that cool? You guys
Sounds great
hang
to
on?
me.
Okay, cool. Younger Life Live, Rick Frederici and Mary Anthony here on AM 1420 WIMS. We, of course, are the talk of the South Shore. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, watch my new bike trick. Whoa!
Accidents happen. When they do, LaPorte Hospital can help you get on the road to recovery faster. With our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge, we will work to have you initially seen by a medical professional in 30 minutes or less. Less waiting, faster care. The 30 minutes or less ER service pledge at LaPorte Hospital.
It's one thing to be aware of breast cancer. It's another to do something about it. Here's to the heroes who make pink so much more than a color. Act, donate, get involved at komen.org/morethanpink.
Hi, this is Rick Frederici.
And this is Mary Anthony.
And don't forget to join us weekdays here on WIMS for
Younger Life Live.
It's great. It's on the radio. It's in your face. YoungerLife.org. And of course, /live to see it each and every weekday right here on WIMS. And you can stream it.
to us live,
Woo!
9 to 10.
All right.
Younger Life Live, weekdays from 9 a.m. until 10 a.m. on AM 1420 WIMS and streaming online at YoungerLife.org.
This is Dave Ramsey. You can hear The Dave Ramsey Show weekdays from 1 to 4 p.m. right here on AM 1420 WIMS, the talk of the South Shore, and online at WIMSradio.com.
Hey guys, watch my new bike trick. Whoa!
Accidents happen. When they do, LaPorte Hospital can help you get on the road to recovery faster. With our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge, we will work to have you initially seen by a medical professional in 30 minutes or less. Less waiting, faster care. The 30 minutes or less ER service pledge at LaPorte Hospital.
All right, Mary Ann, what did you say to that?
Delicious. I said, oh, that's so good. I love turkey. That's so good.
It is heaven on earth.
That's very good.
Explain now to the Younger Life Live audience what we just ate.
What's
is
it called?
Phenomenal.
Basically, it's a turkey roulade. It almost could fall in the same thing as like a turkey galantine, if you will. But basically, I took the turkey breast itself, carved it off the actual bird itself, cut it down in half, and then pounded it out between two pieces of film wrap. So I thinned it out really nice. If you want to get more of a deep imagination of what it is, think of a ho-ho.
Okay.
But in this case, you're basically laying down the gorgonzola cheese, lightly salt and pepper, zucchini, thin sliced onions, and then just rolling it up into a nice little log. And then from there, I took the skin and wrapped it all the way completely around it, and then just trussed it off or tied it off, if you will, and then just roasted it at a 375 for roughly about 35 to 45 minutes. It's a relatively small turkey breast. So from there, I let it cool. Then I sliced it into nice 3/4-inch pieces. And then I had a nice consomme, a vegetable consomme, which is a stock that is really cleared up. I could get into the whole thing, but tell you what, why don't you come to classes and I can show you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But from there, just what you do is you just kind of pour it on, allow it to harden up, and yes, it is Jell-O that's in there. So the gelatin with fresh minced herbs, so you get the nice aromatics, the nice flavor, everything across the board. It's
Very
just
good.
nice 1-2 bites.
What did you think of it? Because I thought not only was it light, but the mixture of the spices and the herbs
stuff.
was just in
Delicious.
your mouth, kind of
I
did a
still
dance.
tasted it. It was so good. Yeah, very, very,
Very
good.
healthy.
Yes, that's exactly it. Very good. You know, and I love that you said it. The consomme you used too did not have added salt in it or anything. So I
No.
feel like this is a very healthy option and, you know, something to try. If someone wanted to attempt that never has, should they Google that, or is that something they should steer clear of without instruction?
Or come by you. Come to school.
Both. You could come sign up for classes. I'll be happy to teach you. But really, to be honest, it is simple. It's just really not worrying about messing up. And that's the biggest thing you have to kind of think about food. It's food. Oh, well, if
Yeah.
it messes up, it's not that big of a deal. But in this case, just take your time with it. Yes, you could definitely Google it. You could look it up. Just take your time with it and just enjoy the time with it and have fun with it.
Donna, what would you say? Now, obviously, you are partaking in a bunch of different things. You're learning, different things. You kind of, in the earlier part of our interview today, you were talking about you love the pastry side of life, but then you realize, you've been cooking all your life, but now you like it all. Well, are you making things like this now in class? As you guys roll into the next couple things?
Oh yeah, where the higher you get, the more I don't know, complicated's the right word. More
Advanced.
complex.
Yeah.
There you
get.
go.
Yeah.
Well, currently Donna's actually in my garde class, and we just got done doing lox, smoked meat, curing. Now this week we're finishing up some sausages. We did all the meats on Tuesday. We're pressing them through the casings today. And eventually she will be getting to do this. We're going to do the galantines. We'll do roulades. So she will actually get to see this happen and get to work with it. Because really, to be honest, something like this is great for showpieces, for wonderful dishes to put out there. Granted, it's on a white plate. Normally, if you do, you can put it on a nice mirror and just gives it much more of a reflective quality to
Wow.
it, and it really pops. So
You guys are really dressing it up.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
that's
very
neat.
cool.
Well, you gotta think. Right away you smelled it when you walked in.
Oh, it's
so
beautiful.
the smell is first thing, then visual. From there,
Yeah.
you have to eat it. So I gotta get you thinking. I'm like, I want this,
That's it.
and
Gotta
I
hook
think
'em.
it worked. So.
Yes, it was delicious. It was delicious. I wanted to ask both of you, as far as the Ivy Tech programs, were you surprised when you came to decide to work there? Were you surprised by all they had to offer?
Actually, yes. I've heard of Ivy Tech. I'm from the area itself. If I actually knew about this when I was going to culinary school, I would have came here. The amount of programs they offer here is just still mind-blowing when I read it. We have over 150 programs.
Yeah, that is a lot.
32 locations. It's huge, and the cost of it is very effective compared to going out to Chicago and all that. And you get the same training, you get the same atmosphere. It's really what you make of it. You go to the big schools, you go to the small school, but school is what you make of it. And to be honest, this is a great program.
Absolutely. Donna, was that the biggest draw for you, is convenience? I mean, locally located,
Almost
obviously,
definitely.
especially when you already have a family and everything. Were you surprised by everything they had to offer when you really started looking into it? Or did you already know, I'm going there because they're local and they do culinary?
When I decided to go back to school, no, I didn't even know Ivy Tech even offered a culinary program.
Really?
I did a Google search like most people do.
Yeah,
when I want to find something. And it said Michigan City campus, and I went, oh.
What?
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, the convenience, the price, you can't beat the price.
I think it's fantastic. Class size, I'm curious. Nick, how many students do you have then roughly per semester?
Per semester, we're relatively small, hopefully to build, but right about now we're sitting at about 55 students.
Wow, that's a decent amount.
Which is good. I'm very happy about. We also have our online program, so we may get students from across the state if the program's not offered somewhere else. So that's the plus side. We really play off each other. In a class, in an actual lab class where you cook, we don't go more than 15. A lot of times we'll hit about the 13, 14. So it's really intimate, considering when I went to school out in Chicago and even taught, we're sitting at 20, 22, maybe even 24 on some cases. This, we keep it small. It allows me as an instructor, as well as the other instructors, to get more one-on-one with the students, which is great because really, to be honest, they need it. That's what they're paying us for. To be there, to help them, to guide them, to listen, and just overall work with them.
Someone just actually texted us in and said, would you mind asking the chef a question? And I obviously just was saying, sure, no problem. They have 25 guests coming over for Thanksgiving, have never hosted a Thanksgiving event. They just want to figure out how much food to prepare.
That's a wonderful question. That's something, too, that I am always curious about. How do you figure that out? How do you guesstimate, if you will, when you're having, you're going to be hosting.
Especially a Thanksgiving or a Christmas.
Especially if you're brand new at this.
Yes.
I mean, if you've never done that before.
That would stress me out, I have to tell you that.
Just a good idea. How do you kind of,
Oh, dear Lord. It's kind of, I don't know, over the years, you just kind of realize you kind of go off of like portion size in a sense.
Yes.
And normally you kind of gear in your head, especially when you're doing caterings, you think about the amount of ounces per person in a sense.
Okay.
So if you're thinking like a 20-pound bird, obviously not all 20 pounds is going to be fed.
Right.
You're looking at maybe about 80% of that bird, if not a little more, of being eaten. So you can break that down to about 17 pounds of a bird being fed.
Okay.
So if you're thinking 8 ounces per person, so 17 times 2. There you go. That's enough for about 30 people in general.
Wow,
8 ounces is a.
It's a little bit on the high end, but once again,
no, I'd rather
have
more.
Well, wouldn't we always, honestly?
Exactly.
Birthday parties and stuff, we always have a ton of food left over, but I always say I'd rather have extra.
Yeah. By the way, everybody gets your little to-go things.
I don't care. Yeah, I'd much rather that than someone feel like they couldn't get enough. Or, you know what I mean?
Do you find that when you cook, because you have a large family as we do, and we do a ton of stuff at Norma's family, my family, brothers and sisters for all holidays, but is that how you prepare too?
Oh yeah, we always have too much.
We go way above and beyond.
We always have too much. It's just kind of the way it goes, and that's okay. I don't think anybody complains because again, there's leftovers, and people can take home food with them.
I have to ask everybody in the room: is your favorite time to eat food the day of when it's coming out piping hot, or the second day? I'm going to go with I love it all.
Depends what it is.
I'm going to go second day.
Depends what it is. Like spaghetti, I know this sounds crazy. I love second day spaghetti.
So do I.
More than I love it the night that it's
chilies,
cooked.
things like that.
Yeah, chilies. That's it. They absorb that.
Yes.
Making me hungry.
Cold pizza in the morning.
Oh yeah,
that's like my favorite. I love that.
I'm all about you.
I love that. I do. So
fresh oven baked.
Oh gosh, yes.
Big thick. Are you a second day guy? I mean, I like food.
To be honest, yes, because you like the flavors, you like everything. But to be honest, I'm a big fan of like my parents making awesome stuffing, and I'll have to kind of out my wife here. She's pretty much a vegetarian. And this is the only day she'll eat something that contains any type of product.
Really?
Because it has the bacon in it. So, yeah, she'll do it. And she's probably listening, so she's probably going
What's your wife's name?
Her name's Megan. So.
Megan, everybody, big old applause for Megan.
We did a
You have a great
show. We
husband.
did a show on a vegetarian diets as well as vegan diets.
Yes.
You have to give people credit that can be that dedicated to that. I can't. I mean, you know, it's not for everyone, but it's just.
It, so.
Well, it's the time, it's the planning, and it's like bacon. I can't imagine cheese if for the vegans out there. You know what I mean? I just we had a young couple too, that decided to go vegan, and they decided at a cookout as they were eating hamburgers, as someone else was telling them about.
It's a good time.
As someone else was telling
after
them
the burger.
about
One laugh.
vegan lifestyle. So they went home that night and looked it up and decided to try it, and the improvements in their health they were shocked by. So they like have dedicated. It's now been a couple years, and they are 100% vegan. I just think that's incredible, and you know how strong and dedicated your wife must be to know you're this amazing cook, and she'll eat everything else except any of the meat you prepare. Then, right?
Pretty much. Thanksgiving and any event, like, and even when I started, I even shook my head. I was like, you know, this is gonna be double work for me because I gotta make this and I gotta do this, and I'll be honest,
It's all about you, honey.
Yeah. But it took me a while. But the greatest thing about it was it actually helped me out as a chef more because I got to deal with more vegetables.
Yeah.
And not saying I haven't or didn't, I just was like, well, always have to have a protein.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Now I do more with the vegetables. I enjoy it. I learned how to manipulate them more, work with them more. And really, it just helps me overall as a chef to really deal with that. So
broaden your own.
Dude, it's a great
your
point.
own outlook
Thank you,
a little
honey.
bit. I think that's
Yes.
fabulous. Yeah. See, look at that. Oh,
See, I'm all about this. Are you hosting this year, Thanksgiving?
no, actually, we're going to my brother's house. My brother and sister-in-law, they just had their brand new baby, and
Congrats.
she's going to be coming home the day before Thanksgiving.
Oh my goodness, just had her.
Yeah, so a little tiny little one, and we're excited. It's always great. It's fun times. So it's nice to be back with family.
Hosting this year?
I am not. I'll be making, of course, the rolls and probably desserts.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I am not hosting either this
We
year.
aren't
We're
either.
doing Christmas Eve, which which I'm fine with. But
Yeah.
in my wife is Mexican, so her mother is making fresh chorizo, tamales, enchiladas, little
Sometimes
mole.
they're-
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
I was thinking, what's the address?
Yeah, I know,
Exactly.
right?
I mean, it's all, and of course, I am blender boy. For the record, I am tequila man. But I mean, I'm saying that with the utmost respect to
Hey,
Younger Life
it is
Live,
a holiday.
in moderation, and I'm not driving. Okay,
That's it.
and it's really good for
That's
you.
the key.
But then what happens is once we leave my mother-in-law's home, we go to my brother's place, and that's supposed to be the dessert / the rest of it. But then we have the traditional ham, turkey, which I love. I love all that. But I get a little bit of everything. But I actually, in recent years, have cut down my portions because I think I like the portions a little bit smaller, as you were suggesting.
You can eat a little bit more of everything.
You absolutely
You know
can.
what I mean? Without feeling miserable. You know, that's the downside. You know, Thanksgiving's a blast because they're, especially with an extended family
Yes.
party, everybody brings something.
I
And
agree.
it's nice. You want to have a little bit of everything, which is wonderful. But, you know, if you don't watch your portions, you will be miserable, you know, and that's no fun.
Yes.
I did want to ask about, I did want to ask about, you know, when we're trying to plan for hosting, to try to guesstimate on food, how would someone attempt to create a budget around that? I think that is tricky for everybody. I mean, you know, we know food's expensive, period. It just is. But how would someone that's never hosted before try to plan for that? How do they
Great
do that?
question.
Pretty much. First, figure out what you want to do. Keep it simple. If it's your first time, go with the basics. You know, obviously the chicken, the mashed potatoes, the stuffing, the green beans, well, depending on what family, and even the pies. A lot of times I'll tell you, make everything scratch. That is pretty much your cheapest route. Granted, yes, you're going to put a lot of work into it. But the best thing to do is make your list, stick to it before you leave to the store. Check what's in your house. See what you have spice-wise, because spices in general are super expensive.
Yes.
So that's something that's key to always have. And then from there, go. Once you get to the store, you stick to that list. Don't deviate.
Yeah,
Unless it's a
it's easy
liquor,
to
then that's
do.
cool. But other than that, you stick with the actual food, whatever it is.
You know, it's interesting. You guys bring this up, and I'm looking right into your eyes because I am that guy that my wife will say, "Would you please do me a favor, honey, before we leave? Can you check the cupboard? Can you look to make sure?" I'm like, "Yeah," and then she'll go upstairs. I'll be like, "Yeah, whatever." And then I love her, but she knows. And then I get to the store and I'll grab everything, and we'll get home. And she goes, "I thought you looked in the cabinet."
We already had 3 of these.
Right. So I'm with you on that because you can because our family, I find that certain things every week, it's like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. But if you could kind of pull things off, that's a wonderful idea with the
good
list.
tip.
Because
I'm curious about the
like that.
spices. There are so many options. Spices are expensive, but there are so many options that the section's enormous and so many different brands. Is there a huge variation in quality in the brands themselves? And how do you know which one's better if you are not a big time cook that cooks a lot? And what are the basics we should have in that cabinet on a regular basis?
Yes, like every time I use spices, they're pretty much the same. The
Okay.
biggest problem that you'll find is that they sit in your shelf too long.
Okay.
Spices do tend to lose their potency after a month or two.
Oh, wow.
And so therefore, if you probably go look in your cabinet and you have cumin or, cayenne and all that stuff,
Yeah.
it's lost its potency.
Really?
So if it's been sitting there for 6 months.
Yeah.
So the best thing to do is if you're not a big cook or anything like that, or even if you are, keep small jars. Keep the small quantities so that way you have to replace them. You get them fresher, and then that's the better way to get the
Okay.
more powerful spice.
that was probably the best piece of advice you gave today, outside of all the other wonderful, information, because I'm telling you, I think a lot of people think opposite. And I was one of those guys where I thought spices, because they're spices, and I put that in
They're already
quotations.
dried. You
They're
think they're
they're
fine.
they're gonna last forever.
That's
so
good.
when you said that, it's like, wow.
Yeah,
Did you
because
know
I'm
that?
thinking you said 6 months. I could think of a couple spices that have probably been in my cabinet a whole
Yeah.
year at least.
I'm going home to dump.
And I don't
today.
use
I
it.
have lots in my cupboard that have been sitting for a while. I just added a little more.
Okay. No, that's a good point.
And it's
did not
nice to know
realize
that
that.
quality-wise, you don't have to be too concerned either.
That's a good idea.
It doesn't just because one's more expensive. I like that you pointed out it doesn't mean you have to have the more expensive one. There's just so many. And I'm always shocked by thinking, wow, there's like 5 brands of this one, dill. Well, how do you know which one's better? Can't just be the most
Can I
expensive
tell you the ones
one.
that drive me nuts? The spice jars that you can't get the tops off these days, where you have to turn it. It just turns, and I don't mind that you guys are like, okay, dork boy.
You mean the
but I'm like,
grinder?
for example, I'll make pub burgers on the grill.
Yeah.
And I'll bring out their sea salt, black pepper, a little fresh garlic, or the garlic powder, and then
Yeah.
I have the little thing that turns with the onion flakes and a couple of other things mixed in there. But it's a pain because you're going around, but
grinder.
I'm over the fire. Is there a trick to that? I'm over the fire, and I'm like, this is really hot.
Don't buy that.
Don't
Yeah.
buy that.
Put it in a
Okay.
bowl.
Yeah, there you
go.
Sprinkle it over.
Okay.
Or use
that's
your
a good
fingers.
idea.
That's a good idea.
You're like, duh. But
That's
that
good
is a
idea.
great basic.
Now, is it better to use fresh? You know how in some areas where all the produce is, you can get some fresh spices or herbs really that you could cut up yourself. Is it better to do that if you can, or?
It depends on the application. With fresh product, you always add at the end, where a dry product, you want to add it at the beginning because
Really?
it's dried.
Oh, that's another good point.
But you also got to think, too, because it's dried, it's more potent, so you have to use less. So if it
Okay.
calls for like a tablespoon of fresh, you're going to break it down to a smaller amount of dry. Because over time, it'll expand in a sense, and
Yeah.
the flavor becomes more potent. So
Okay.
it's definitely just, once again, really depends on the application.
Yeah, and
That's
trial and
another great
error
piece
a
of
lot, right?
information.
What's that?
Trial and error, right?
Trial and error, yes. It's only food. You just
Yeah.
eat it, and then you go make it again.
Okay. Yeah, good
Would
idea.
you say I've had someone say this to me when you're cooking Italian sausage, like say on the grill outside. So they put it not on the main grill part, but they put it up on the rack. Someone told me you shouldn't actually slice it in. Let's say it's out there for 15 minutes or 10 minutes. It's on a low flame, but you kind of want to let it make sure it's cooked. A lot of people, I actually was spanked once for this. You make the slit in it, but you're not supposed to do that, are you?
No, you allow the juices to run. And that's really what's going on. So you want to keep it in probably the lower end of it.
Okay.
So that way the juices stay within the casing and they don't explode out. And then if you want to, at the very end, kiss it on hard fire so that you get a little bit of char if that's what you want. And there you go.
Yeah,
Okay.
that makes
It's
sense.
always about keeping those juices within
Yeah.
the product.
Well, before we wrap up, I can't believe we're almost done. I wanted to ask about some information for the program, in case someone's interested in finding out about this program or any other of the Ivy Tech programs locally. Can you give us a phone number, website?
No, definitely. If you want to, just to check out the location first or the actual website, it's ivtech.edu. If you want to call directly to the Michigan City campus, it's 219-879-9137. And then you could ask for myself, Chef Nick, at extension 6232. If not, if you're looking just to look at the school in general and look at any program, you can still call that same number, the 879-9137 number, and then they can direct you to where you need to go and what you need to do, and they could help you out.
That's fantastic. And where are you guys located at for people that don't know?
Oh, that's a darn good question.
I don't know the exact address. We're in Franklin.
Yeah, you are.
I keep it, yes.
Okay, good.
So it's 3714 Franklin Street.
That was actually really good.
Yeah.
You know, you were covering everybody there. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Well, you go to a place so much. It's like even
That's
if
it.
I leave a house,
Especially
I know where
right
they
here.
live. I sometimes forget the number, but it is 3714 Franklin Street here in Michigan City.
Okay.
It's right basically at the junction of 421 and Route 20. We're across the street from the Wendy's right
Wendy's
there.
is there, and
Pretty much
Holly's?
the
Is it
Goodwills and the Hollies and all that.
Well, you
yeah.
guys, easiest thing. I'll throw this out there. This is the easiest way. Right next to Goodwill, right a couple over from Sowers, right across the street from visitmichigancitylaporte.com
Yeah.
or the LaPorte County Convention and Visitors Bureau and Planet Fitness, right down the block from Al's, right around the corner from, and straight across the street from Horizon Bank. You see how that works? Come on, people.
You just showed us up.
And,
No,
no,
we
no,
know
but
why
I just
we're
said
at.
these are all our partners. That's why. Right across the street from the Franklin Clinic, right around the corner from John and the great folks at Carlson's.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Another
it's
question
good.
actually about Ivy Tech in general. Do they run some typical semesters only? So you would only be spring or fall to enter in, versus like say some programs run as a certificate program that you mentioned with 6 classes. So 6 weeks, could anybody sign up then, or is it specifically fall and spring, like a more traditional?
It's pretty much spring, fall, summer.
Summer,
The
yeah,
spring and the
summer.
fall run for the 16 weeks, and the summer runs for 8 weeks.
Okay.
The way I even set up the actual program, I know when I first started there, we had a lot of classes that did 1 day a week at 16 weeks. To help try to make it move a little bit and feel more intense, I actually moved a lot of my lab classes to 8 weeks, 2 days a week. Because it makes more sense, especially
Yeah.
if you're doing bacon. If you're trying to make
Yeah.
brioche, it takes 2 days to make brioche. If you're doing
Oh,
sausage
really?
making, you don't want the product sitting, you make it today and then got to wait 7 days. Instead, you're making it and it's only sitting and we go over there. So you could even do a couple more classes if
Yeah.
you can, as long as the load allows you to and your actual want and drive with it. So yeah, it does do the same 16 weeks, but you could actually fit 2 classes at half the time in a sense at 8 weeks a pop.
That makes perfect sense, actually. I mean, with food, especially, I would imagine it's more key to make it and finish it, without waiting the week. So, okay.
Well, it's time to do. I would just want to say, we just want to take care of one more piece of business here
Okay,
for the
sure.
LaPorte Hospital, our great sponsor, and we'll come back and wrap it up. Can you guys hang a few
Oh,
more minutes?
definitely.
All right. We'll be right back here on Younger Life Live.
Hey guys, watch my new bike trick. Whoa!
Accidents happen. When they do, LaPorte Hospital can help you get on the road to recovery faster. With our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge, we will work to have you initially seen by a medical professional in 30 minutes or less. Less waiting, faster care. The 30 minutes or less ER service pledge at LaPorte Hospital.
It's one thing to be aware of breast cancer. It's another to do something about it. Here's to the heroes who make pink so much more than a color. Act, donate, get involved at komen.org/morethanpink.
During a medical emergency, every minute matters. That's why, at LaPorte Hospital, you'll find less waiting where you need it most, in our emergency room. In fact, we will work to have you initially seen by a medical professional in 30 minutes or less. And because we're a full-service hospital, we can provide more care if you need it. Less waiting, faster care. The 30 minutes or less ER service pledge at LaPorte Hospital.
Hey, get off my back. We're back on the air, okay?
And I got the
He
giggles.
said smidge, and I looked at Mary Anthony. By the way, we're back on Younger Life Live, brought to you today by the LaPorte Hospital. These guys are awesome. I love
know.
them.
And
wanna
I
have
love
them in
talking
every
about
day.
food prep. I
Yeah.
think it's important. I mean, especially this time of year, we're going into the whole holiday season,
Mm-hmm.
not just Thanksgiving, and that means a lot of work parties,
Sure.
family parties. even children's parties, and you're trying to maybe be a little creative.
Could you give him a
step outside
smidge of
this.
information?
Okay, so the smidge.
I said smidge. Say the smidge story.
Well, Rick, a couple weeks ago, we were talking about
don't
something
know
he
what I
grilled,
was
and he
thinking.
said tidge, not pinch, not smidge,
I don't know where
not
it came from,
sprinkle.
it just
He
came
said
out.
tidge, which
And
I
she
don't
goes-
even believe is the
she's
word.
like, look at me. She goes, huh?
I got the giggles,
Should've
and it
stayed
just took
confident
me
with it.
over.
Like, I know what I'm talking about.
It took me over. I couldn't stop, and it just took me a minute to compose myself, but it was funny. I giggled about it the rest of that day because I just, sometimes when you get the giggles, it's
Jeremy, you should have heard what
difficult.
Rick said today on the show. Yeah.
It's difficult to shake it after that. So that was funny. But yes, I heard smidge, which I know.
Thank you.
I know that term.
I do too.
Tidge.
You had a real quick question. We've got a couple minutes, and it
Yes.
was about sanitation and
Well, I
things
know
like
you
that.
said
If you
you
don't
started
mind.
the program with sanitation. I think that is so important. Can you please tell our listeners, our friends, what we should be doing first at home before we do any kind of food prep? We all know wash our hands. What else is important? Because it is scary with dealing with meat in general, and we don't want to send our guests home with more than a doggy bag of food. We don't want to send them home sick. So
Pretty much, yes. Wash your hands. Clean your actual kitchen in sense, like sanitize or wash everything you possibly can with warm water, soap. If you could get a sanitizer of some nature, you can. Even like a light bleach, like really dilute it is a safe way to go. Like a little small amount of bleach to a good size amount of water that help clean out. From there, any product, vegetable product, always wash your product. It's the first thing you should do. As for turkey, and this is always kind of the big thing where everyone always just leaves it in the sink and just lets it thaw out, which it sits in a very problematic temperature.
Yeah.
So where you could get a lot of bacteria growth and all that. So when it comes to thawing out any meats, any turkeys, poultries in general, it's the best thing to do is just put it in the fridge. Make sure obviously it's sitting in a container so the juices don't run everywhere. But at least that way it goes from the frozen state and never goes above 41 degrees, because 41 and lower is the best way to keep product. Because once it gets above that, you start hitting the TDZ, which is the temperature danger zone.
really,
And that's where bacteria pretty much grows the most, between 70 to 120. And that's an issue. That's where if you see any restaurants, they may get dinged by the health department
Yes.
because of temperatures.
really,
And that's one of
Okay.
the most common things, only because certain things don't hold well and all that.
Yeah.
But from there, even work, do vegetables first, then the other product, maybe even like food that's already pre-made.
Oh, okay.
Start with that first, then work into your vegetables, then work with your meats, and then just go in order.
And sanitize in between each of those?
Yes,
Is that
you
what
should
you're
always
okay?
wash clean.
I think it's a big deal to point out. I know traditionally, like you said, a lot of people would pull frozen meat out and stick it in the sink or in cold water in the sink. Does the juices in the sink pose a problem later?
Yes, you
If you
definitely
do
need
that?
to wash it as well, because that's the thing. Even if you do thaw underwater, you need to keep the water at a cool temperature.
Okay.
If it's at room temp at 70 degrees, if you slightly turn that warm water on, you're still putting your turkey or even product at a bit of a problem there.
Yeah.
And it could even slightly cook your food as well. So if you do cool, turn it on to cold water. But if you're looking to save money, that's not the way to go.
I have to throw this out there. Jeremy Anthony just said, Rick, I'm sticking up for you. I use a tidge all the time.
Yeah, whatever.
I love him.
Yeah, so
It's a Sean
He's a
Burke
cool
thing.
dude. He's a young
My
hipster.
husband. How funny.
He's sticking
He's
up
a
for
smart
Ricky.
butt is what he is. That's
He
fun.
knows before you
He
walk out
knows,
the
though,
door.
I did get the best laugh on
Wait,
that.
he's texting her saying, honey, but I love you most.
Yeah. How funny. How funny. We really appreciate you
So
guys coming
love you
today, though.
guys.
I mean, the information is
Seriously, great info.
is awesome, especially, just to keep everybody safe and
Agreed.
healthy over the holiday season. What you brought in was
These were
fabulous.
phenomenal,
These turkey
so
bites
healthy.
were so good.
This would be like the hit of a party, big time.
I know, and they look so
Yes.
pretty. So they would
You
be
know,
huge.
you realize there's 4 left and there's 4 of us.
I know it.
So when we go off the air in about less than a minute, we're
Taking
scarfing
it-
those
that's
bad
it,
boys.
taking it with
All
me.
you.
It's
Thank
fantastic.
you both for coming out here. And I know that Doc is the new man over there, Doc Peter,
Yep.
over at the college. And I just happened to see him at the United Way event, and we just had him on the air not too long ago. Phenomenal man. Tell him we said hi.
Definitely.
And
He actually
we love
said
you guys.
tell you, hi and give you a big old hug. And
I'm
that
all
good
about
stuff.
it.
Good.
Yeah. Thank you for your time today. Keep
I
up the good
appreciate
work.
it.
We're
And,
proud of
and
you guys.
good luck finishing school and
Yeah.
all of that stuff. I think it's so cool. I'm always happy to hear these local colleges, how much there really is to offer, because we always hear the big schools, and that's great too. But right here locally, it's still right here too. Good education, and
It's
I
a
love
great
that.
place to start.
Happy
For
holidays.
sure.
Merry
Happy
Christmas.
holidays.
Thank
Happy
you
New
so
Year.
much.
On behalf of us
Have a
all
happy
at
holiday.
Gerard Media LLC, Younger Life Live, I'm Rick Federici.
I'm Mary Anthony.
AM 1420, WIMS, Michigan City, a Gerard Media Company station.
CBS News. I'm Steve Kathan. His campaign manager says Donald Trump is highly engaged in the presidential transition, and Kellyanne Conway tells CBS this morning cabinet choices could come either before or after Thanksgiving.
We have long shortlists at Trump Tower in terms of transition. I think some people are expected on those lists. Some people would surprise you, would be unexpected.
CBS's Chip Reed says South Carolina's Republican governor will stop by Trump Tower.
It's not clear exactly what Nikki Haley wants or what they want her for. There has been some speculation that maybe Secretary of State. Some people believe she's not qualified to do that, but certainly she is a favorite of Donald Trump, and she will be meeting with him later today.
One House Republican who met this morning with Vice President-elect Mike Pence says lawmakers should look forward to a speedier process than they're used to. Donald Trump is on the minds of European leaders who are meeting with President Obama. He's in Germany, and so is CBS's Margaret Brennan.
The rhetoric from the president-elect, as well as his friendly outreach to Russia, has German Chancellor Angela Merkel concerned. They're also making the case that trade ties should be strengthened, despite Mr. Trump's plans to rewrite or cancel